Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Learn English with Podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Tony. We're your hosts, and today we have an exciting topic for you. We're going to talk about something everyone dreams about at some point, a dream job.
That's right, Tony. A dream job is that perfect job you love and enjoy doing every single day. It's what you think about when you're imagining your future. So, to kick things off, Tony, why don't you tell us about your dream job?
My dream job is to be a travel writer. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved traveling and exploring new places. I used to write stories about my imaginary trips around the world. I'd describe the food, the people, the sights, everything. Now, I want to make that a reality and share my adventures with everyone through my writing.
That sounds like an amazing dream, Tony. Traveling the world and writing about it. Who wouldn't want that? For me, my dream job is a bit different. I want to be a wildlife photographer. I've always loved animals and nature. Capturing the beauty of wildlife through my camera lens is something I'm really passionate about. I imagine traveling to exotic places, waiting patiently for the perfect shot of a lion or an eagle.
Wow, Nikki. That's incredible. I can see you now in the middle of the savannah, camera in hand, capturing stunning images of nature.
Thanks, Tony. The thought of being close to nature and animals excites me. It's a job that combines my love for photography and wildlife. But let's talk a bit more about why having a dream job is so important. It's not just about making money. It's about finding something that makes you happy and fulfilled.
Exactly, Nikki. A dream job gives you a sense of purpose. It's something you look forward to doing every day. It doesn't feel like work because you enjoy it so much. But finding your dream job can take time. You need to explore, try different things, and learn new skills.
Absolutely, Tony. It's like a journey. Sometimes you might stumble upon your dream job by accident. Other times it takes a lot of effort and persistence. But in the end, it's all worth it. For our listeners, when you think about your dream job, ask yourself, what do I love doing? What makes me happy? What am I good at?
And remember, it's okay if you don't know right away. It's all part of the adventure. Trying different things helps you understand what you really enjoy. And sometimes your dream job might change as you grow and learn more about yourself.
Great point, Tony. Life is full of surprises, and your interests might evolve over time. Now, today's episode is extra special because we have some wonderful guests who will share their stories about their dream jobs. They'll tell us how they found their dream jobs and what they love about them.
That's right, Nikki. We'll hear about their journeys, the challenges they faced, and the joy they found in their dream jobs. So, stay tuned because you won't want to miss these inspiring stories.
Before we bring in our first guest, let's quickly highlight some important steps to finding your dream job. First, identify your passions. What activities make you lose track of time? Second, assess your skills. What are you naturally good at? Third, explore different fields. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone.
And lastly, never give up. Finding your dream job can be a long journey, but every step you take brings you closer to it. Keep learning, keep growing, and stay positive. It's all part of the process.
Excellent advice, Tony. Now, it's time to bring in our first guest. Today, we have someone with an extraordinary story to share. Let's give a warm welcome to our first guest, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Welcome to the show. Can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, Nikki and Tony. My name is Sarah and I'm an interior designer.
An interior designer. That sounds fascinating. Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about how you discovered your dream job?
Of course. Ever since I was a child, I loved decorating my room. I would spend hours arranging my furniture and selecting colors for my walls. When I grew older, I realized that this passion could become a career. I studied interior design in college, and now I help people create beautiful and functional spaces in their homes.
That's amazing, Sarah. It's wonderful to hear that you turned your childhood passion into a dream job. Can you share a memorable experience from your journey as an interior designer?
Sure, Tony. One of the most memorable projects I worked on was designing a cozy reading nook for a client who loved books. She had a small space in her living room that she wanted to transform. We added a comfortable chair, some floating shelves, and warm lighting. When she saw the final result, she was so happy that she cried tears of joy. Moments like that make my job incredibly rewarding.
Wow, that sounds like a beautiful experience. It must be amazing to see your clients so happy with your work. What's the most challenging part of your job, Sarah?
The most challenging part is discerning each client's unique taste and style. Everyone has different preferences, so I need to listen carefully and ask the right questions to create a space that reflects their personality. But I love the challenge because it pushes me to be more creative.
That's really interesting. It sounds like communication is paramount in your job. Do you have any advice for our listeners who might want to pursue a career in interior design?
Yes, absolutely. My advice is to always follow your passion. If you love designing spaces, start by experimenting in your own home. Take some online courses or attend workshops to learn the basics. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every project is a learning experience.
Great advice, Sarah. It's inspiring to hear how you turned your passion into a successful career. What do you love the most about being an interior designer?
What I love the most is the ability to metamorphose spaces and make people feel happy and comfortable in their homes. It's incredibly satisfying to see the smiles on my clients' faces when they see the final result. It makes all the hard work worth it.
That's wonderful, Sarah. Your story is truly inspiring. Now, let's dive a bit deeper into some specifics. Can you tell us about a particularly challenging project and how you overcame it?
Yes. There was a project where I had to redesign a small studio apartment. The space was very limited, and the client wanted both a functional living area and a cozy bedroom. I had to get creative with multifunctional furniture and innovative storage solutions. In the end, the client was thrilled with how we maximized the space without sacrificing style or comfort.
That sounds like a tough but rewarding project. It's impressive how you managed to balance functionality and aesthetics in such a small space. Do you have any tips for our listeners who might be working with limited space in their homes?
Absolutely. My top tip is to use multifunctional furniture. For example, a sofa bed can be both a seating area and a sleeping space. Also, make use of vertical space with shelves and wall-mounted storage. And don't forget about lighting. It can make a small space feel bigger and more inviting.
Great tips, Sarah. Thank you so much for sharing your story and advice with us. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Tony and Nikki. It was great talking to you both.
Before we move on to our next guest, let's quickly recap some of the advanced words and expressions we learned from Sarah's story. First, we have metamorphose. To metamorphose means to change or transform something completely, like how Sarah metamorphoses spaces into beautiful designs.
Next is innovative. This word describes something new and creative, like the innovative storage solutions Sarah mentioned. It's especially useful in small spaces.
Another important word is aesthetics. This refers to the principles concerned with the nature and appreciation of beauty, especially in art. In interior design, aesthetics are very important because you want the space to look good.
And finally, we have discern. To discern means to perceive or recognize something. Sarah discerns each client's unique taste and style to create a personalized space.
Great recap, Tony. Remember, listeners, it's important to practice these new words and try to use them in your own sentences. It helps you remember them better.
Now, it's time to introduce our next guest. We're delighted to have someone who has pursued a truly unique dream job. Please welcome Alex. Hi Alex, welcome to the show. Could you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Alex and I'm a marine biologist.
A marine biologist? That sounds incredibly exciting. Alex, can you tell us a bit about how you found your way into this fascinating field?
Sure, Nikki. Ever since I was a child, I've been fascinated by the ocean and its inhabitants. I grew up near the coast, and I spent a lot of time exploring tide pools and learning about marine life. This passion led me to study marine biology in college. Now I get to research and protect marine ecosystems as my job.
That's amazing, Alex. It's always inspiring to hear about someone turning their childhood fascination into a career. Can you share a particularly memorable experience from your work as a marine biologist?
Absolutely, Tony. One of the most memorable experiences was when I participated in a research expedition to study coral reefs in the Caribbean. We were collecting data on the health of the reefs and the diversity of marine species. On one of our dives, we discovered a previously undocumented species of fish. It was an exhilarating moment for the entire team.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Discovering a new species must have been thrilling. What are some of the challenges you face in your work, Alex?
One of the biggest challenges is the impact of climate change on marine ecosystems. Rising ocean temperatures and acidification are causing significant damage to coral reefs and other marine habitats. It's a constant struggle to find solutions and mitigate these effects. Another challenge is securing funding for research projects, as it can be very competitive.
Those are indeed significant challenges. Do you have any advice for our listeners who might be interested in pursuing a career in marine biology?
Yes, definitely. My advice is to get as much hands-on experience as possible. Volunteer for research projects, internships, and conservation programs. This field requires a lot of practical knowledge, so the more experience you have, the better. Also, stay curious and never stop learning. The ocean is vast and full of mysteries, and there's always something new to discover.
Excellent advice, Alex. It's inspiring to hear how passionate you are about your work. What do you love the most about being a marine biologist?
What I love the most is being able to contribute to the preservation of our oceans. The feeling of diving into the ocean, observing marine life up close, and knowing that my work is helping to protect these ecosystems is incredibly fulfilling. It's also very exciting to work in such a dynamic and ever-changing environment.
That's wonderful, Alex. Your dedication to marine conservation is truly commendable. Now let's delve into a specific project you've worked on. Can you tell us about a particularly challenging project and how you navigated through it?
Sure. There was a project where we were studying the effects of plastic pollution on marine life. We were collecting samples from various coastal areas and analyzing the impact on different species. The challenge was not only in the field work, which was physically demanding, but also in raising awareness and advocating for policy changes to reduce plastic pollution. It was a multifaceted project that required a lot of collaboration and perseverance.
That sounds like a formidable project. It's impressive how you managed to tackle both the scientific and advocacy aspects. Do you have any tips for our listeners on how they can help reduce plastic pollution in their daily lives?
Absolutely. Simple actions can make a big difference. Reduce your use of single-use plastics, such as plastic bags, bottles, and straws. Opt for reusable alternatives instead. Also, participate in local beach cleanups and support organizations working to combat plastic pollution. Every small effort counts.
Great tips, Alex. Thank you so much for sharing your story and advice with us. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Tony and Nikki. It was great talking to you both.
Before we move on to our next guest, let's quickly recap some of the advanced words and expressions we learned from Alex's story. First, we have expedition. An expedition is a journey undertaken for a specific purpose, especially scientific research, like the one Alex participated in to study coral reefs.
Next is acidification. This refers to the process of becoming more acidic. Ocean acidification is a significant issue caused by increased carbon dioxide levels, which affects marine life.
Another important word is mitigate. To mitigate means to make something less severe or serious. Alex and his team work to mitigate the impacts of climate change on marine ecosystems.
And finally, we have advocacy. Advocacy involves supporting a cause or proposal. Alex's project required not just research but also advocacy to push for policy changes to reduce plastic pollution.
Great recap, Tony. Remember, listeners, it's important to practice these new words and try to use them in your own sentences. It helps you remember them better.
Now, it's time to introduce our final guest, who has pursued a truly remarkable dream job. Please welcome Michael.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to the show. Could you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, Nikki and Tony. My name is Michael, and I'm a professional chef.
A professional chef. That sounds fascinating. Michael, can you tell us a bit about how you found your way into the culinary world?
Sure, Nikki. I've always had a passion for cooking. When I was young, I spent a lot of time in the kitchen with my grandmother, learning traditional recipes and techniques. As I grew older, I decided to pursue this passion professionally. I attended culinary school and worked in various restaurants to refine my skills. Today, I run my own restaurant.
That's amazing, Michael. Turning a childhood passion into a career is always inspiring. Can you share a particularly memorable experience from your journey as a chef?
Absolutely, Tony. One of the most memorable experiences was when I got the opportunity to cook for a distinguished food critic. It was a nerve-wracking experience because I knew that their review could significantly impact my restaurant's reputation. I prepared a special tasting menu, focusing on local ingredients and innovative techniques. When the review was published, it was glowing, and it helped put my restaurant on the map.
Wow, that must have been exhilarating. What are some of the challenges you face in your job, Michael?
One of the biggest challenges is maintaining consistency in the quality of food and service. Every dish has to be perfect, and every customer should have a great experience. Another challenge is staying creative and continuously innovating. The culinary world is very competitive, and you always need to be ahead of the trends.
Those are indeed significant challenges. Do you have any advice for our listeners who might be interested in pursuing a career in the culinary arts?
Yes, definitely. My advice is to never stop learning. The culinary field is constantly evolving, and there's always something new to discover. Gain as much experience as you can, whether it's through internships, working in different kitchens, or traveling to learn about different cuisines. And most importantly, stay passionate and dedicated.
Excellent advice, Michael. It's inspiring to hear how passionate you are about your work. What do you love the most about being a chef?
What I love the most is the ability to bring joy to people through food. Creating a dish that makes someone smile or brings back a fond memory is incredibly rewarding. I also love the creative freedom that comes with being a chef. I get to experiment with flavors, techniques, and presentations, which keeps the job exciting.
That's wonderful, Michael. Your dedication to your craft is truly commendable. Now, let's delve into a specific project you've worked on. Can you tell us about a particularly challenging project and how you navigated through it?
Sure. There was a project where I was tasked with designing a menu for a large charity event. The challenge was to create a menu that catered to various dietary restrictions and preferences while still being unique and delicious. I had to collaborate with nutritionists and other chefs to ensure that every dish was inclusive and flavorful. The event was a huge success, and it was fulfilling to see everyone enjoy the food.
That sounds like a formidable project. It's impressive how you managed to balance creativity and inclusivity. Do you have any tips for our listeners on how they can improve their cooking skills at home?
Absolutely. My top tip is to focus on mastering basic techniques. Once you have a solid foundation, you can start experimenting with different ingredients and flavors. Also, don't be afraid to try new recipes and make mistakes. That's how you learn. And finally, use fresh, high-quality ingredients whenever possible. They make a huge difference in the final dish.
Great tips, Michael. Thank you so much for sharing your story and advice with us. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It was great talking to you both.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly recap some of the advanced words and expressions we learned from Michael's story. First, we have culinary. The term culinary pertains to cooking or the kitchen. Michael pursued his passion for culinary arts by attending culinary school.
Next is distinguished. This word describes someone or something that is famous and respected, like the distinguished food critic Michael cooked for.
Another important word is refine. To refine means to improve something by making small changes. Michael refined his skills by working in various restaurants.
And finally, we have inclusive. Inclusive means including all the services or items normally expected or required. Michael's menu for the charity event was inclusive of various dietary restrictions.
Great recap, Tony. Remember, listeners, it's important to practice these new words and try to use them in your own sentences. It helps you remember them better.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new.
As we close today's episode, let's take a moment to reflect on the concept of a dream job. A dream job is more than just a means to make a living. It's a career that brings joy, satisfaction, and a sense of fulfillment. It's important because it aligns with your passions and strengths, making work feel more like a rewarding pursuit than a chore.
Absolutely, Nikki. Finding your dream job involves understanding what you love, setting clear goals, and being persistent. It may take time and effort, but the journey is worth it. Along the way, you'll learn valuable skills, meet interesting people, and grow both personally and professionally.
We hope today's episode has inspired you to think about your own dream job and how to achieve it. Remember, learning English can be a crucial step in reaching your career goals, as it opens up opportunities and enhances your communication skills.
To keep improving your English, we encourage you to practice every day. Listen to our podcast regularly and try to use the new words and expressions you learn. The more you practice, the more confident you will become.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, give us a like, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us continue bringing you valuable content to help you improve your English skills.
Thank you for joining us today. Keep dreaming big and working hard to achieve your goals. Until next time, keep practicing and stay inspired.
Goodbye, everyone.